Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Tuesday, August 27th, 2024 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I listen with presence to my stories. We've got a really interesting day. We've got the Venus bookmark of what could be challenging but also potentially breaking through energies. And we have the moon continuing in Gemini. So sun in Virgo, moon in Gemini, really strong mental energies going on. And today, while I was driving, some of my best thinking happens when I'm driving. Thank you, Luce. Something big came through. And it was hearing it a different way. And I was like, oh, yes. And this is feeling like part of this work that we're meant to be doing as we're building to our first eclipse coming in fairly soon, 2.5 weeks, about 2 weeks, I guess, is closer to it. 2 weeks, we have this eclipse coming in. Thank you, Luce. And we have an opportunity to make big shifts when we have eclipse energies coming in. And this first eclipse is going to be with the sun in Virgo and moon in Pisces. And so it opens us up to shifting our reality, bringing in a little magic, bringing in some spirit, some more spirit and soul energy to reality, to the mundane. But the thing that came through today, I think, works its way into that. So what came through was you can either be committed to your stories or you can be committed to your healing. And I'm going to share my example of it because we all have stories that we tell. So my stories have to do with my experience with Lyme. A lot of times people will be like, well, you look healthy. And I'd be like, oh, if you only knew all the things that I feel like I've been cheated out of and I can't do because of feeling super exhausted or unwell or whatever. Like, there's one part of me that wants to stand up for my stories and tell the story of how hard it's been, what an ordeal it's been. And then there's the other part of me that's so committed to my healing, my wellness, that's like, I'm doing better and better every day. I've figured out all these things that have been able to help buoy me up. My commitment to my health has kept me looking well. Yay. You know, there's a lot of ways that I can lean into that. If I'm not, I don't know, defending myself, defending my experience, why do we do that, right? Because we want to feel justified for where we're at. So I feel like there's some mental shifts that we can be aware of in this energy. There's the mental shifts that we can make where we recognize, am I committing to my story? So my story could be like, why Lyme has cheated me. Or your healing, your wellness, where you're wanting to go. Keep this in mind because this is going to be key as we build into this first eclipse energy, recognizing what is the story that you want to continue telling. Yes, sometimes we have to share things that don't necessarily look like the future we want to have, right? But the problem is getting stuck in there. The problem is looping in it. The problem is when we keep telling ourselves that story, when you have those imaginary conversations or whatever, or what I should have said is this. So keep that in mind. Now, what I love is today our first connection with Venus has potential for breakthrough, especially around self-love, showing up for the self-care, even service to self. So Venus in Virgo loves to be of service, prides itself in being of service, can wear itself out being of service. And so check in. Are you serving you? Are you tending to you? And this includes in the mental realm. That's part of Virgo. Body, mind, spirit, soul, and heart. So Venus in Virgo also needs to tend to the mind. And so there's potential for breakthrough here, especially if you're leaning into what you value. Again, just to use myself as an example, I value feeling well. I value it so much. And so I want to lean in that direction for myself. As the day goes on, we have the moon in Gemini just connecting to everyone. The moon in Gemini is going to connect to Saturn. It's going to connect to Jupiter. We're actually in the States kind of waking up to moon Jupiter. So today's a really good day to like affirm good things. Today is going to be a perfect day. Today is going to have beautiful things. I am going to make synchronistic cosmic connections today. Whatever feels good to you and helps buoy you up, that's a great way to start the morning. The moon and Mercury are also going to be connecting. I love that. Mercury and Leo. Hopefully this is encouragement to speak goodness, to speak love, to speak wellness into others and into yourself in this beautiful connection. Moon in Gemini is definitely a cheerleader, hype person for that Mercury and Leo energy. So see, what are the positive stories? What are the loving and kind things and the joyful and even funny and silly things that you feel like expressing today? Like today's a good day. Express the joy. We then have like a little distance in transits, and we have the moon and Mars. The moon and Mars. And so you might kind of wring out some of that positivity. You might have a little temper tantrum come up. You might feel some frustrations. You may have to get out some of the uglier things that we contain within. This is why journaling is so great, because it's a great option to do that. Friends that are able to listen, just recognize that moon and Mars energy. It might stun you a little bit because the first part of the day does have a much better feeling to it. We also end the day with the moon and Venus feeling that square. And what I'm feeling in that square is if you served everybody else and you did not take time for yourself, you did not serve yourself, you're gonna really feel that worn out energy. And that's another reminder, it's never too late. But here we are wrapping up Venus and Virgo. So like now's the time to recognize it and remedy it and lean into that for yourself. I do want to mention that the moon will be connecting to Neptune early Wednesday. So again, we get some interesting dream time energies coming in. We're also today in our last full day of Mercury retrograde. Mercury will be going direct on Wednesday. Hooray! So, even in your joyful expressions, watch for where you might trip over the Mercury energies. I did kind of skip over that moon Saturn energy. While that's happening for many of us during sleep time, some of you over in Europe may experience that a little bit stronger. Watch for where you should on yourself and watch for where you take on responsibilities that are not yours. Everything is responsibility. You get to decide how and what you're called to respond to and what that response is. So just keep that in mind, any of you late night peoples or, like I said, over in Europe. Card wise, we've got these two cards together, the Master card and the Maturity card. So you get to decide what your inner adult is going to look like today in leaning hopefully into committed to your wellness, committed to your healing over the stories, right? Recognizing your own creative power. We also have the past lives card in here, and the past lives card, it's the moon, and it's recognizing those hidden places within us, some of the hidden shadows, some of the places that there's parts of ourselves that sometimes want to keep us small because we're afraid what could happen if we allow ourselves to be bigger, if we allow ourselves to be in our full power. So watch for that amidst the stories where staying small or being sick or whatever the stories are that you're leaning into feels a little safer. Watch for those hidden under things. We are building to a new moon. It's not going to be happening this week, but we're getting there. So some of that dark of the moon stuff may start creeping in. I'm feeling that in this. What I love in these cards today is the possibilities. Hold the possibilities. Again, for your growth, for your personal mastery. The Master card always to me is like, you don't have this mastered yet, but hey, work on it. And the Maturity card is like, work on it. Like, be present. be aware of your earth journey and see where you can show up for yourself. Because when we do, again, possibilities unfolding. Love that. So that's it for today. You can book a reading. Eclipse readings available for these eclipses coming in. I know they're coming in early this fall, but, or I guess it's not fall yet, this summer into fall time. Email me for that, any other reading. And besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and remember who you are, for you are the solution. Namaste.